Okay, let's continue to talk about the second homework. This is question 6 to 10. Question 6. The what illustrates the trade-offs facing an economy that produces only two goods. That's basically the diagram that we have just discussed, right? The so-called production possibility frontier. Circular flow diagram is a later content in this chapter. It's another model in this chapter, and we will get there. All else equal assumption. It is actually an assumption when we are using the economic model. Okay, we use the economic model to make some prediction. We assume everything else are equal, and we will see, okay, later on in our discussion in the course. The income distribution. This is not about income distribution. The trade-off facing an economy produces only two goods. There's a trade-off. It's not about income. Okay. Now, the next question. The U.S. production possibility frontier would do what if all computers using Microsoft operating systems contracted a virus that corrupted all information on those computers? So, in the textbook, we know if the economy grow, the production possibility frontier move out. Okay? Use this diagram, right? If the capital goods, right, increase its productivity, then we have this movement from this blue PPF, production possibility, to the red PPF. But if, let's say, I'm using a different color, and if what we are considering, right, your computer caught a virus, your productivity decline, right, for all the possibilities shrink into a smaller region. That is what we are talking about in this question. Let me show you. Going back. Okay. All the computers suddenly stopped working. Then what it should look like, right? Is it still shifting out? Suddenly all the computers run faster, okay, work better, load the web page faster? Probably not that situation. No change. A lot of works cannot be done, right, if your computer system all going down. The answer cannot be determined from the information provided. Not really interesting. Okay, question 8. Figure strawberries and the submarines. This is an analogy to the guns and butter story. And I have to move this up a little bit so we know it's strawberries and the submarines. Okay, in this picture we have A, B, C, D, E all on the production possibility frontier. Point G is what we have said, it's a feasible point but not efficient. Point F is an attainable point, an unattainable point, right? We want to be there, right? Have a lot of strawberries, millions of tons of strawberries, and we also want submarines to protect the strawberries, a lot of them, but it's not attainable given the limited resources in this economy. Okay, let's look at the question. Use figure strawberries and submarines as the economy moves from point A towards point D. Point A from point D. Let me get an arrow here. Alright, what's going on is actually you decrease the production of strawberries and then you increase the production of submarines. Right, that's the process. And the question is talking about what? It will find the opportunity cost of each additional submarine. Well, we just discussed that, given the shape of the PPF, production possibility frontier, is bulging out from the origin. It means increasing opportunity cost. So we basically know, right? The opportunity cost will rise. Now let's check whether that is true. Let me use this one, right? So the first submarine build, we give up how much? By and large, 50 million tons of strawberries. How about the second one? Second build, we give up from 950 to 800. That is 150. The third submarine build, this is from 800 to 550. That's 250. Okay, so the first unit, or the first submarine build, it cost us 50 million tons of strawberry. The second one cost us 150 million tons of strawberry. The third unit cost us 250 million tons of strawberries, increasing opportunity cost. Question 9 is still about this picture. Okay, use figure, strawberries and submarines. Suppose the economy now operates at point D. Let's go back. This is point D. So we have 550 million tons of strawberries and 3 submarines. Okay. Moving to point B would require that the economy to do what? Moving to point B, right? So from here to here, from point B to point D. Basically, what's gonna happen from point D to point B is, well, we decrease the production of submarines from 3 to 1, and we increase the production of strawberries from 550 million tons to 950 million tons. Okay, so it's actually, this quantity. Okay, so basically we give up 2 submarines for additional, this is 550 to 950, 400 million tons of strawberries. Okay, let's look at what we have in terms of choices. A, sacrifice efficient allocation of resources. Point B, still on the production possibility frontier, so it's efficient. We didn't sacrifice efficiency. Point B eliminates its production of strawberries. No. We did what? Remember? Right. C, reduce its production of submarines. Is that part of what we have done? D, improve its technology or increase its quantities of factors of production. That, my friends, require what? Let me give you the new color. This thing. Okay, you increase the resources, increase the productivity, you will have a new production possibility frontier that is larger. It moved out, shifted outwards. Okay, that much for question 9. Let's look at Next one, question 10. We have this table. We have Brazil and Alaska. It's basically B and A. Then we have coffee and salmon. The question says use table, coffee and salmon production possibilities. This now is a standard comparative advantage model. You have two countries or two area, okay, or two economy, and you have two goods. I don't know how Alaska can produce coffee, but let's assume it can. The table shows the maximum amounts of coffee and salmon that Brazil and Alaska can produce if they just produce one good. The opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of salmon for Alaska is how many units of coffee? Now, for this kind of question, I use a table. This is the table I will use. This is our production possibility table, okay? And then I will calculate the opportunity cost for one country to produce one good, okay? So let's look at it for Brazil to produce coffee. How many units of salmon it has to give up? I'm asking how many units of salmon, so I need to put this 20, okay, here, and they produce 40 units of coffee instead of 20 units of salmon, so it give up 0.5 unit of salmon for each unit of coffee Brazil produce. And then how about salmon? If Brazil is to produce salmon, how many units of coffee? It has to give up. Okay, the opportunity cost of salmon is measured in terms of coffee. So it has to be coffee in the numerator divided by the quantity of salmon. If the whole economy only produce salmon, that is 2. So for each unit of salmon Brazil produce, it has to give up 2 units of coffee. So let me use as here, okay, salmon and coffee. All right, same calculation for Alaska. If we are thinking about coffee production, what's the opportunity cost in terms of salmon? Then we use salmon 10 divided by the production or output of coffee. That is 1, and still this one in terms of units, it is still salmon, right? So for every unit of coffee, Alaska give up 1 unit of salmon. And then for salmon, they give up 10 units of coffee to produce 10 units of salmon. That is 1 unit of coffee. All right. Because the units is like the same, or the quantity is the same for Alaska, so its opportunity cost is 1 and 1. But for Brazil, its opportunity cost is no longer 1. Brazil need to give up half unit of salmon in order to produce 1 unit of coffee, or give up 2 units of coffee in order to produce 1 unit of salmon. So that's how we calculate the opportunity cost. And then let me extend this one to the comparative advantage discussion. Now we are going to compare the opportunity cost, and the direction is vertical, right? Direction is vertical. For producing coffee, what we find out is Brazil actually has a lower opportunity cost. Let me mark this one. Does not allow me. Okay, Brazil has the lower opportunity cost. For salmon, Alaska. That is understandable, right? Brazil is famous for its good coffee, and Alaska is famous for its salmon production. That is understandable, but the comparative advantage, what I have highlighted, come from the lower opportunity cost producing region. Okay, the lower opportunity cost producing region has the comparative advantage. Okay, now let's go back to the question. The opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of salmon for Alaska, we know, right, is how many units of coffee. Okay, we have done the calculation. Okay, that is question 6 to 10 for homework 2.